Hello, my name is Alex Branton and I'm a meteorologist here at the Mount Washington Observatory, and I'm coming to you live from the summit of Mount Washington to talk about this weekend's Higher Summits weather forecast. But first, let's talk a little bit about the current conditions that we're experiencing on the summit right now. So behind me, what you're looking at is our current summit conditions page. You can find this on our website whenever you're curious about what the weather's like on Mount Washington. We've had a pretty interesting past few days here on the summit, so let's get into that. Right now, our wind speeds are about 60 miles per hour, so getting pretty up there in terms of wind speeds. But if we look at our 24-hour data, we can see that we had a peak gust of 91 miles per hour over the past 24 hours. So that's a pretty significant amount that we've had here on the summit over the past couple of days. Past 10 minutes, about 80 mile per hour wind gust. Temperatures right now about 31 degrees. But if we look at our on-road vertical temperature profile, we can see that freezing line is rising a pretty good bit. Earlier this morning, the freezing line dropped down to about 4,000 feet or below. But as temperatures have been warming over the past 24 hours, we can see that we are almost just above freezing up here on the summit, and we are expecting to go back above freezing here tonight. Now again, if we look at our precip totals over the past 24 hours, we have received about 1 inch of snow over the past 24 hours. However, if we look back at the past few days, we've received a little bit over 5 inches of snow since Tuesday. So a pretty good amount up here on the summit, and I'll just show you what that looks like on our deck camera. So if we take a look at here, we can see that there's just so much snow that has fallen on the deck, so much rime ice. We are in the fog, so unfortunately we don't have very good visibility, but we can see that we have kind of accumulated a good amount of snow for October here on the summit. So now let's talk a little bit about what conditions we're expecting this weekend here on the higher summits. So what you're looking at behind me is a surface analysis map. This is just a really good map that makes it easy to see what kind of weather patterns we're going to be experiencing this weekend. So first we have this low pressure system that's kind of moving into our area. This low is going to be moving across Quebec and into the Canadian Maritimes. It's dragging along with it this cold front, so that's going to be passing tonight. So even though we are going to be expecting our temperatures to rise above freezing tonight, we're also going to be expecting them to drop back below freezing as this cold front passes. Now, also as this cold front passes, we're going to be experiencing some elevating of the winds. So if we look at this low pressure here, we also have our high pressure here down in the south. So if we look at our pressure gradient, the difference between that high pressure and that low pressure, we see that pressure gradient is really tightly packed. Now you read these maps kind of like you read a topographic map. The tighter packed those isobars are, the lines of constant pressure, the faster the wind speed. So if you think about it on a topographic map, the closer those lines of elevation are, the steeper the terrain is. So again, the closer together these isobars are, the steeper the pressure gradient and the higher the wind speed. So this is a pretty tight pressure gradient that we're going to be seeing develop over the next several hours. So we are going to be expecting our wind speeds to increase. Now, after that low pressure passes, we have this high pressure moving in that's going to kind of regulate our weather conditions here. But if we look deeper into the forecast period, Sunday night, Monday, we have this low pressure system here that's just starting to develop. It's going to be developing even further and moving into New England by the end of the forecast period. So that's going to bring us another round of precipitation and some winds here at Mount Washington. So now let's take a look at our future radar. I'll go ahead and full screen there, and we can look at what our precipitation looks like this forecast period. So we have a little bit coming into the area tonight and this morning. That's going to be clearing out, tonight, tomorrow morning, clearing out for Saturday. And here we are on Sunday. We see that pretty dense area of rain kind of start to form in southern New England. That's going to be moving north into our region by Sunday night, but there might be some overrunning showers that end up spilling over into the White Mountain region Sunday afternoon. So now let's take a look at our higher summits forecast. You can access this on our website to see the full forecast details. But for tonight, got kind of a long forecast, but we're going to be in and out of the clouds, trending towards in the clouds under increasingly cloudy skies. We have a chance of a wintry mix of precipitation due to those fluctuating temperatures, but we're not expecting too much of that accumulation. Possible snow and sleet accumulations of a trace to 2 inches, and a possible ice accumulation if we do end up getting some freezing rain of a trace to a tenth of an inch. Temperatures rising to around 40 degrees and falling to around 30 degrees, and winds northwest at 50 to 70 miles per hour, then increasing to 65 to 85 miles per hour with gusts up to 110 miles per hour. So this is what we're talking about with those elevating winds with that tightening pressure gradient. We are expecting gusts above 100 miles per hour and prevailing wind speeds nearing 100 miles per hour tonight. So definitely going to keep an eye on that and report back on those wind speeds as we experience them here at the Mount Washington Observatory. Our wind chill, due to those high winds and cooling temperatures, will be falling to 0 to 10 degrees above zero. Looking at Saturday, we're going to be in the clouds, trending towards clearing under partly sunny skies. A chance of snow showers early, but again, not too much snow that we're expecting. Snow accumulations of a trace to 2 inches up here on the summit. Temperatures falling to the lower 20s, and winds will be starting elevated here Saturday morning. Northwest is 75 to 95 miles per hour with gusts up to 115 miles per hour. So if you are planning on visiting the higher terrain Saturday morning for the long weekend, please be aware that we are going to be expecting some pretty high winds Saturday morning. Now the good news is they are expected to decrease throughout the day to 45 to 60 miles per hour with gusts up to 70 miles per hour. So still slightly elevated, but definitely not as high as what we're going to be expecting tonight and tomorrow morning. Our wind chill will be falling to 5 below to 5 above, so getting into some below zero wind chills here on Saturday. So looking at Saturday night, conditions improving even more beneath that high pressure. In the clear under partly cloudy skies, temperatures rising to the upper 20s, and winds northwest shifting west at 45 to 60 miles per hour with gusts up to 70 miles per hour, decreasing further to 30 to 45 miles per hour. Wind chill 5 below to 5 above. And lastly, for Sunday, in the clear under partly sunny skies, a chance of snow showers in the afternoon as we saw on that future radar, that precipitation starting to move in. Possible snow accumulations of a trace to 2 inches. Temperatures falling to the mid-20s and winds west shifting southwest at 30 to 45 miles per hour early, 10 to 25 miles per hour midday, and 15 to 30 miles per hour later. Wind chill rising to 5 to 15 above. So even though our forecast only does go out to Sunday, I did take a little look at Monday, and it looks like all that precipitation is just going to kind of move over New England and give us another day full of precipitation. So if you're here on the top of Mount Washington, or even at the lower elevations north of the Notches, we could be seeing a few more inches of snow. Lower elevations south of the Notches, that's going to be falling as rain. So overall, some pretty intense weather conditions that we're going to be expecting up here at the higher elevations throughout this long weekend. If you do plan on visiting us up here at the summit of Mount Washington, please be prepared to be in those weather conditions. Be prepared, take measures to mitigate against the risks of exposure, like for things like hypothermia, frostbite, pack some extra layers so that you can mitigate those risks, and also use caution when traversing icy trails. As we're expecting a freeze-thaw cycle up here on the summit, those trails might become icy tonight, and that will persist into the coming days. So just be aware of these conditions as you come visit us here at the summit of Mount Washington. If you have family or friends or know anyone that is planning on visiting the higher elevations of the White Mountains, please share this forecast and make sure they're aware of the conditions that we are going to be expecting here this weekend. But other than that, I hope you guys have a great weekend, a great long weekend, and we'll see you next Friday for next weekend's Higher Summits forecast.